In this Webflow tutorial, I'll teach you how to make a drop-down with checkboxes, and when you tick into the checkbox, it actually changes that text that says select into whatever you actually check. You notice in this situation, if I tick donate, it actually shows donation. If I tick Series C, it says donation, comma, Series C. If I hit Series D, and then if I hit Series A, you'll notice it reaches a max text length, and then it just says 4 selected or 5 selected. So this is very, very versatile to do, all done through custom code. Let's get straight into Webflow. All right, guys, I'm now in Webflow and I just have a form, and obviously a checkbox needs to be inside a form. But what we need to do firstly is to add a drop-down element. So to do this, we can hit the plus button and we can scroll down all the way to drop-down, which is right here. So we're not going to be using the select, it's rather the drop-down. Let's go ahead and drag this into the field that we want it to. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this text field underneath this email address. And perhaps I'll change email address to be, select items lol. I put lol because we're going to keep it casual and fun. All right, let's go ahead and head back to that dropdown. And then in this specific dropdown, let's give it a class. And the class I'm going to give it is ms-dropdown. And that is what I'm going to give it. The next thing is this specific dropdown text right here. We'll also give this a class. And I'm going to give this class of ms-trigger-text. And this is important to name these classes these specific names because we'll be injecting a custom code to reference these classes. So I'm just going to quickly style this. You can, of course, style it however you want, but I'm just going to maybe just change the background color to white. And, for the lols, I'm going to change the radius to 50 VW, and I'll put a border 1 pixel black, right? That's pretty much it. Next thing we want to do is select that drop down and hit settings and hit menu, show. And obviously by default, there's 3 different links. So we can go ahead and just delete these links. We can go ahead and add a checkbox inside this navigation dropdown. So right now, again, it just moved it to hide. Let's go back to show. You notice there's a checkbox right here. Perhaps we'll give this checkbox a class of checkbox_lol. And then from here, we can style it however you want. Obviously, I'm not going to style it because it's not part of the tutorial. But keep in mind, I've done a tutorial in the past on how to do a custom checkbox. So now I'm just going to go ahead and just paste this a couple of times, maybe just 4 times. And I can go ahead and just rename this. In this case, I'll just call it orange. The next one, I'll call it green. And the next one, I'll call it pink. And finally, I'll call the last one Zen mode, 100% cool color. Now is pretty gangster, yo guy, with all these spelling errors. So these are the specific results. The next thing we need to do is just paste in our custom code. So let's go ahead and head over to pages and hit the page settings. And where we want to paste this code is in the footer, right here in the before body tag. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in the comment, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and paste it in. And obviously, if you're a beginner, I would strongly encourage you to just read the code. Not necessarily understand what each one does, obviously, but just to understand the premise, at least understand the premise. I think nowadays with like AI, we need to start thinking how to prompt the AI. This is the exact same thing. You should at least have a high level understanding. Once this is successful, all this really is doing is saying, hey, whatever checkboxes you click, replace the text with the checkbox. And it has an automatic script that puts the comma. And then if it's too long of a character, which is right here, max character 32, it will just replace it with selected 4, selected 5. So very powerful stuff. Once that's done, we can go ahead and save. And that's pretty much it. However, there is one extra thing you could do. And this is what I do. For example, you notice this says orange, this says green, this says pink. That's a pretty short text. But right here in this last option, Zen mode 100% cool color now is pretty gangster, yo guy. That's pretty long. That's going to take up a lot of space. So what we could do instead is to select the checkbox itself, and we can go ahead settings and then head over to custom attributes. We can hit plus, and we can go ahead and type in *short, and then we can go ahead and just give it a custom value. In this case, I just wanted to say Zen, for example, right? And this custom value is what's going to replace the dropdown. That's what I mean. So we can go ahead and do this for the other 2. So we'll go data-short, and we'll call this pink. I'm going to go ahead and just copy the name, go back to green, hit plus, paste that in, and type in green. And now go into orange, hit plus, paste that in, and type in, I might just type in OJ, for example, like an abbreviation. Once that's done, that's literally it. We can go ahead and publish our site. Go ahead and preview it. You'll notice it has this select field. We can go ahead and click it down. And you'll notice if we tick orange, it replaces the text with OJ. If we tick green, it's comma green. If we hit Zen mode 100% cool color now is pretty gangster, yo. you'll notice that it only says Zen because we use that custom attribute. These are the things we need to start thinking of as developers. So that's pretty much it. Again, that's how you do that specific functionality. As Webflow developers, you should be able to code in the design that you want. Hope you found this video super helpful. Check out my previous video on how to make a custom checkbox. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.